Everybody, for those who saw my last video talking about Strange Things Await, my very first novel, I don't know how I did it, but I did not save part 2, or something happened with part 2. So this is just gonna be a quick video for part 2, where we are going to be talking about the magical boarding school details, and we're going to be talking about also the theme of good versus evil. So those are the last couple of main tropes that are within this novel. I did not come up with any new tropes to add on to the list that was already we already talked about in part 1. So we are going to wrap up to talk about the last 2. I'm going to try to do my best this time around to focus on just the first book and not talk about the whole series as a whole, because this is part 1 of 2 books that are already out. But we also have a third novel. So originally it was supposed to be a trilogy, as I mentioned in the previous video, but we might actually have 4 books coming up. So I'll see how things go, because I'm writing the third novel right now, but I have so many ideas and I don't want to try to force them all into the third book just to make sure I can finish at 3. You know, if it ends up the story needs another book to be told, then that's what I'm going to do. All right, so the where we left off, we was talking about fake dating trope. We was talking about forced proximity trope. We were also talking about enemies to lovers trope, which is one of my favorites. What else? I guess it's a little bit also well, no, because that's more second book trope. So again, so magic boarding school. So when I was discussing the magic boarding school, we have hold on, let me see. Okay, I was pausing for just a second to see where I left off, so I had to look at my video. I actually did not in the first video, I didn't cover the trope. So we are going to go all the way from the beginning, the very first main trope. So I wrote down 4: fake dating, enemies to lovers, magic boarding school, good versus evil. But I'm also going to throw in there forced proximity, just because I think there is a little bit of that. So let's talk about that first. So when it comes to that in the novel, the characters in this particular class are forced to partner up for this huge project that's a huge percentage of their final grade for the whole class. And each group is pit through the teacher drawing like random pairings. So you can't pick your own parents. So it is really wild, where enemies Natalie and Alexandra are forced, let me see if I can get this a little bigger, a little higher up, are forced to partner up on this project together. And then we have also, I'm just gonna keep trying to buffer this up so you all can see the beautiful cover. They are all forced, well, those 2 are forced to work together, and as you can imagine, 2 powerful witches who hate each other, it's going to be very hard to work on a project together. And then also 2 from the friend group. So from Alexandra's friend group, Olivia is paired with Arnold, who is part of Natalie's friend group. So you have all these different pairings, partnerships for the class. There's just, it forces them to be in close proximity to each other for a good duration of time, because it's a a final project. It's a big project, so you can't just do it overnight. So you have that trope, and it's usually with the the romance genre where you have them two characters, they're snowed in together, characters, oh, they on the same flight, and it's delayed, they have to be in the same vehicle together, or they're stuck at the airport together, or one of my favorite scenes I just watched recently. Told you on one of my videos I was watching Dawson's Creek, and when Pacey and Joey are stuck together in the supermarket overnight, that was a great moment. So and definitely Hallmark does this a lot. And every time, I'm telling you, Hallmark, it comes the same stories over and over and over again, and it's still enjoyable. So what else do we have? We have fake dating. In this, the fake dating ends up being very shockingly Natalie King, aka Nat, and Alessandra, aka oh, I'm gonna say aka Alex. So this is, I ain't gonna say win in the book, but they still are just not getting along. They don't like each other, but during having to be their friends are starting to kind of meld together. They're starting to be forced to tolerate each other. And the school officials aren't putting up with them. They're sick of them. So all around, the school officials, their friends, everyone somehow is getting them to be around each other. And because they're ex-best friends, it's really hard to forget everything. It's like, oh, I hate you because of this happened, and we're at odds, but for so many years we were best friends. And I think it tests their hate. So Natalie finds out that Alex's mom is pretty much trying to pimp her out. So they come up with a plan, a disastrous plan, a plan to pretend that they're dating, so that way she doesn't have to go through with whatever her mom wanted her to go through. You have to read the book. So it's almost like she's saying, all right, well, don't really like you, but I guess since I'm all about being good and about right and wrong, what your mom is doing is completely wrong, and you saved my life once before, so I guess I can help you out. It's really weird. So it's a very interesting time for them. Something you all can read. And hopefully you all will enjoy the craziness. And then we have Enemies to Lovers, which I'm not gonna say who, because I think it's a spoiler, and it is also probably a nice shocking moment to find out who it is. And you probably think you know, but you don't, because you're probably assuming. I'm not gonna know. I don't know what you know. You don't know what I know. I'm not gonna assume who you picking. But the Enemies to Lovers is not the focal point of this novel. We definitely get a little more focus in the second novel with the Enemies to Lovers. But I enjoyed the trope so much, I had to include it in my own book. So you definitely get some Enemies to Lovers in this first book. If you enjoy any of these tropes that I'm talking about, you are going to love this book. And then we have Magic Boarding School. And this is anything where you have supernatural, which is other supernatural beings together, living under one roof to go to school. So examples of that can be very recently, you have Legacies TV show that's based off of the Vampire Diaries and the originals TV show, but more so the Vampire Diaries because that was what started everything. It was a novel series. Then hopefully this will be a series too. Then you have actually the same woman is a producer, Julie Plec, maybe is her name. She's actually starting to I think I got a phone call.